Hello and welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that is often misunderstood but holds the key to true, lasting freedom: divine stewardship. In a world obsessed with quick wealth and financial hacks, we're going to dive into a timeless wisdom found in the Bible that offers a revolutionary perspective on money. This isn't about legalistic rules or restrictive commands. This is about a radical shift in mindset, from being an owner to being a steward. When we understand that everything we have is a gift from God, our relationship with money transforms from one of fear and scarcity to one of faith, purpose, and profound generosity. This video is for anyone who desires not just financial success, but a deep sense of peace and a life that honors God. We're going to explore what the Bible truly says about money, uncover the principles of divine stewardship, and provide a clear, actionable roadmap to build a life of financial freedom that is rooted in faith. So, whether you're a devout Christian or simply seeking a new, meaningful approach to your finances, get ready to discover the biblical principles that can unlock a life of enduring freedom and spiritual fulfillment. The ownership mindset versus the stewardship mindset. The world operates on a simple principle: ownership. We are taught to believe that our money, our possessions, and our talents belong to us, and we have the right to do with them as we please. While this may seem logical from a worldly perspective, it is the root of much of our financial anxiety. When we believe we are the sole owners, the pressure to control every outcome, to protect what is ours, and to never lose a penny becomes an overwhelming burden. The Bible presents a completely different, and infinitely more peaceful, principle: stewardship. This principle is founded on the foundational belief that God is the ultimate owner of all things. Psalm 24 verse 1 says, "The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it, the world, and all who live in it." This means that you are not an owner, you are a manager, or a steward, of the resources that have been entrusted to you. This single shift in perspective changes everything. When you move from an ownership mindset to a stewardship mindset, the burden is lifted. You are no longer responsible for creating and protecting everything on your own. Your job is simply to manage His resources wisely, faithfully, and according to His will. This frees you from the endless chase for more and allows you to find peace in your present circumstances, knowing that God is your ultimate provider. Practical implications of a stewardship mindset. Gratitude over greed. Instead of wanting more, you become deeply grateful for what you have, knowing it is a gift from God. Peace over pressure. The pressure to succeed is replaced by the peace of knowing you are simply doing your best with what you've been given. Generosity over hoarding. You are free to be generous, because you know the source of your provision is limitless, and it's not your money to hoard. Embracing this mindset is the first step toward true financial freedom. It is the foundation upon which all other biblical principles of money are built. The principle of the first, tithing and giving, is an act of faith. In a world that tells us to pay ourselves first, the Bible gives a counterintuitive principle: the principle of the first. This is the ancient practice of tithing, giving the first 10% of our income to God's work. This isn't a transaction or a way to earn a blessing. It is an act of radical faith and worship. When you give the first of your income, you are making a powerful declaration that God is your ultimate provider, not your job, your paycheck, or your investments. You are saying, "I trust you so much, God, that I will give you the first and best of what you have given me." This act of faith breaks the power of money over your life. It turns money from a master into a servant. Malachi 3 verse 10 says, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it." This is the only place in the Bible where God says to test Him. He is promising to bless your faithfulness. Beyond tithing, the heart of giving. Generosity is an attitude, not an amount. You can be generous with a little or with a lot. It's not about the quantity but about the heart behind the giving. Giving freely. The Bible teaches us to give cheerfully, not out of compulsion or obligation. Giving should be an act of joy and worship, not a chore. The law of reciprocity: as you give, you will receive. This is not a transactional law but a spiritual one. It's a natural flow. When you release what you have, you create a space for more to come in. Practicing the principle of the first is the foundational step in a life of divine stewardship. It's a spiritual discipline that unlocks not only financial blessing but a deeper, more profound sense of trust in God's provision. The discipline of saving, security and wisdom. While the world often views saving as a form of hoarding, the Bible presents it as an act of wisdom and responsibility. The book of Proverbs is filled with wisdom about preparing for the future and avoiding financial foolishness. Proverbs 21 verse 20 says, "In the house of the wise are stores of choice food and oil, but a foolish man devours all he has." Divine stewardship calls us to be prudent managers. A wise steward prepares for the future, builds a safety net, and doesn't live on the edge of financial disaster. Saving is an act of faith, not a sign of fear. It shows that you trust God to provide, but you are also doing your part to manage His resources wisely. Practical steps to wise saving. Create a budget. A budget is not a restriction, it's a plan for your money. It allows you to be intentional with every dollar, allocating funds for your needs, your giving, and your savings. Build an emergency fund. A wise steward prepares for the unexpected. Building a fund to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses provides a sense of security that is not rooted in fear but in preparation. Invest for the future. Investing is a modern form of wise stewardship. It is a way to make the resources God has given you grow, so you can have more to give, more to save, and more to provide for your family in the future. The discipline of saving frees you from the bondage of debt and the anxiety of living paycheck to paycheck. It gives you the capacity to be more generous and to take on opportunities that require a certain level of financial stability. The principle of debt-free living, a life of freedom. Debt is one of the most significant sources of financial bondage in our modern world. The Bible is clear about its view on debt. Proverbs 22 verse 7 says, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender." This verse teaches us that debt is a form of slavery. It puts us under the control of another and limits our freedom to live and give as God intends. A life of divine stewardship is a life of freedom. It is a life lived without the burden of interest payments, without the fear of collection calls, and without the anxiety of being financially controlled. Achieving debt-free living is a powerful act of spiritual liberation. Practical steps to overcome debt. Radical commitment. The first step to becoming debt-free is to make a radical commitment to it. This may mean living on a strict budget, cutting out non-essentials, and focusing all your extra income on paying down debt. The snowball or avalanche method. Choose a debt repayment strategy and stick with it. The snowball method, paying off the smallest debt first, provides psychological wins, while the avalanche method, paying off the highest interest debt first, saves you the most money. Both are effective. Avoid new debt. The ultimate goal is to never go into consumer debt again. This requires a shift in mindset, from buying things you can't afford to living within your means. When you are free from debt, you have the freedom to be more generous, to take on new opportunities, and to truly use your resources for God's glory without the shadow of a lender looming over you. The journey to financial freedom is not just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It is a spiritual journey of trusting God, building a life of integrity, and living with a profound sense of purpose. When you embrace the principles of divine stewardship, you are not just managing your money, you are living out your faith in a tangible, powerful way. This wisdom is timeless because it is rooted in a truth that transcends market cycles and economic downturns. It is the truth that God is the owner, and we are the stewards. By shifting your mindset, practicing radical giving, embracing the discipline of saving, and living a debt-free life, you will not only achieve financial freedom but, more importantly, a deep and abiding sense of peace. I hope this message has inspired you to begin this transformative journey. If it has, please leave a comment below with your biggest takeaway. Share this video with anyone you feel needs to hear this message. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content on faith, finance, and personal growth. A big hug, and I'll see you in the next video.